Hey y'all, welcome to Uncle Dan's Front Porch. I just want to tell y'all, it's a little too cold to sit on my front porch, so come on inside. Today I'm going to talk to you about knowing how to talk to yourself. Yeah, I got to thinking about this, that talking to yourself could actually make a difference in your success. Now, I know some of y'all think I'm crazy, but yes, I talk to myself. I talk to myself a lot. The real deal with this, though, is I can say some pretty rotten things to myself. I can say rotten things around myself. And I've actually learned how to say encouraging things to myself. So let's talk about this whole thing of talking to yourself. Now, there's this guy. He wrote a lot of the Psalms that's in the book of Psalms that's in the Bible, and he was going through a rough patch. Rough as in God had made him king, but the king that was in place at the time was chasing him. Oh, it was his father-in-law too. But anyway, was chasing him all around the countryside. Now David, since he was a leader, natural leader, guys started flocking to him, and they started going on these raiding parties. He was still aligned with the kingdom that he was supposed to take care of, just couldn't be king at the time, so he was still wiping out these other rival tribes. Well, one day they went on this raiding party and come back home, and somebody done run off all his kids, wives and kids of all his men, and as you can imagine, they were not feeling it right then, so they was going to kill him. And there's an interesting verse that says that this guy named David, he encouraged himself in the Lord. Yeah, he had to talk to himself out of running from the situation, but finding a way of actually, he needed to encourage his guys right then. Yeah, the same people trying to kill him. So I guess I'm just pointing out the fact that you probably ought to take a look at some of the things that's written in this book we call the Bible, because real people going through some really hairy situations, just as bad or worse than yours. It's got some good insight for us. Now, the wisest guy that ever lived happens to be this same guy, David's son. So his son writes that life and death are in the power of the tongue. Now, that's a significant concept. The things you say around yourself are pretty important. It's just not, some of us, at least I have thought this way, that hey, ain't nobody else around, don't matter what I say. We need to think about whether or not we are poisoning ourselves. The Bible talks about we have this ability to fool ourselves. So what we really need to do is we need to take a look at what we're saying around ourselves. Now, sometimes we don't even say crazy stuff, we just think it. So I think I need to be in the habit of confronting myself about the things that I'm thinking and saying, because it can really affect my outcome. It can affect the way I interact with people. It could make me successful or a failure. Now, one of the things that's very important in talking to myself is I need to talk the truth to myself. Um, I've done dumb stuff, and it's okay for me to tell myself that was dumb. But it's not okay for me to tell myself that I, as a person, am dumb, because I really don't think it's true. And it's not very encouraging and not helpful. Um, so speaking true things to myself is very important. Um, but in order to speak true things to myself, I gotta have this diet of truth. I gotta love truth. I gotta eat truth. Um, I gotta think about truth. Greatest source of truth is the Bible, but we just gotta confront the falsehoods that we're saying to ourselves. Now, next week I want to talk to you about the way you think, because really that's how you win this battle about what you say. But sometimes we've got to start recognizing the way we talk and taking a look at what needs to be fixed in that, and it will expose the problems that I have with the way I think. So I'm just telling you this week, just take a look at what you're saying around yourself. Some of us are decent enough so we kind of watch what we say around little kids. You need to start watching what you say around yourself. Now, another thing that I think is really helpful, and probably won't talk about this next week, so I'm going to talk about it now, is we have this habit of when we see a situation, we start making assumptions. We start thinking we know what people's motivations are, and we start building this whole picture in our mind of what's really going on, and we don't even know. We don't know. So we need to start confronting that kind of stuff too. What do I know about the situation? What's true? Not what am I assuming? What do I think's going on? I need to go back to what are the facts? What was actually said? If I want to know what was meant by what was said, I need to ask the person who said it, not just think I know. Now, Jesus, I'm going to finish up with this. Jesus said something was very interesting because he was talking to a bunch of people who wanted to fuss because people weren't ceremonially washing their hands before they ate. Now, washing hands is a good thing for you because it takes care of a lot of germs and stuff, but this was a religious thing. And so Jesus said, hold on, time out. We got problems here. Y'all are so worried about whether or not their hands are clean. He's like, we need to talk about something more important. So there's something more important is, here's what he says. He says, don't you realize that whatever is going into the mouth goes into the stomach and is eliminated? It's like, it's no big deal. But here's what's more important. What comes out of the mouth comes from the heart. And he says, this is what defiles a person. He says, out of the heart comes evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, immorality, thefts, false testimonies, and blasphemies. These are the things that defile a person. Yeah. So he's saying that we really need to take a look at the way we think. I'm saying watch what you're saying so you can take a look at what you think. Bottom line is this. You really need to watch what you're saying around yourself. Sometimes it might be helpful if you just look at yourself, and I know this sounds weird, as another person, and just ask yourself, is this really something that needs to be said around somebody? Is this going to help this person? I mean, we're selfish, right? Well, let's be selfish about the way we talk to ourselves, and might need to smack ourselves upside the head and say, look, don't talk like that around me. So this is Uncle Dan inside because the front porch is way too cold, 36 something degrees. 36 is what it said when I looked a few minutes ago. Have a blessed week, and you need to watch your mouth. Talk nice stuff to yourself. Encourage yourself. Confront yourself when you need to. But always go about talking to yourself the way you know you should talk to other people. And you probably will find yourself becoming a better person. You'll find yourself starting to do things you know you should do, but you don't want to do. Because I'm going to tell y'all right now, sometimes I have to talk myself into doing what needs to be done. So talking to yourself can make yourself successful.